Plank was the co-host of the Man Enough podcast alongside Justin Baldoni. And then as soon as Blake Lively filed her complaint, Liz Plank was out, instantly said she quit, a show of support and solidarity with Blake after everything dropped. And people began looking into it. And particularly there was this TikToker, Steph with the Deets, who had showed that perhaps the reason that motivated her to get on the side of Blake Lively without actually looking into anything, or at least speaking to her co-host and hearing his side of things, may have been what we have discovered since, a repeat sort of Ryan Reynolds psychopathic strategy of essentially love bombing. So Liz Plank was a perfect person for them to go after because first and foremost, if you don't know anything about her, I had never heard her name before this scandal. She's kind of branded herself as like the ultimate.
Blake Lively has gone from ruling the Upper East Side to ruling the headlines. But this time, it's not for a hit role or a red carpet sleigh. A scandal is unfolding, one so explosive it's sending shockwaves through Hollywood, leaving A-listers uneasy, studios in crisis mode, and fans desperate for the truth. This isn't just another celebrity controversy, it's a high-stakes showdown. And tonight, we're diving headfirst into every shocking twist. Buckle up, because this story is wilder than you ever imagined. Let's rewind. Blake Lively, America's sweetheart. Ryan Reynolds, Hollywood's favorite funny guy. The perfect power couple, until the lawsuit started flying.
Glamour UK interview by Blake Lively, and in her interview, she admitted to trying to poison the cast of Gossip Girl, which is where she made her name, against her co-star Penn Badgley, who played her love interest, Dan Humphrey, on the show. She said, "At first I was so upset that they had hired him, I actually poisoned the whole cast against him." And she goes on to say, but then they noticed that he wasn't a jerk and was actually a nice, charming person, and almost immediately I realized it too. But it took me about a week to admit it. And here's the thing. Reports were that Blake Lively and Leighton Meester, who played best friends on that show, were not friends during the 6-season run of the show. Leighton Meester and Penn Badgley and other Gossip Girl co-stars have remained silent in the wake of the Baldoni legal drama. Neither Meester nor Badgley follow Lively on Instagram.
It all began with a movie. It Ends With Us, a project that was supposed to be Blake's triumphant return to the spotlight. Instead, it ignited a $400 million legal inferno. Co-star Justin Baldoni, yes, the self-proclaimed male feminist, is now locked in a courtroom battle with Blake, accusing her of weaponizing her fame, her husband, and even her best friend Taylor Swift to destroy his career. But why? What happened behind those closed set doors? And why is Taylor Swift, Blake's ride or die, staying dead silent? Blake claims Baldoni harassed her on set, a bombshell that made headlines. But Baldoni's lawyers fired back with a 179-page lawsuit, calling it all a lie. They say Blake and Ryan Reynolds orchestrated a smear campaign so vicious, it involved paid-off journalists, fake social media bots, and a secret meeting at their $5 million penthouse with Taylor Swift in the room.
Know who she was. This was her first movie, and I was singled out as, you treated her like a fan, and then I was dressed down afterwards, which could have been a career ender, because when you're an intern, you're the most dispensable person on the project.
This resurfaced controversy is gaining traction, just as Lively is locked in a high-stakes legal battle with her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni.
Very young and inexperienced in the industry, and then you got a job as an intern?
Yeah, and I had turned 20 a week before, so I was young, and she was young, I believe, 17, and I always reserve the right to say people can change, to put that out there.
Yeah.
But I was pointed out and singled out as someone that treated her like a fan, when, as someone who grew up on set and in this world, I knew you don't talk to talent.
With serious allegations flying back and forth, the case has grabbed major media attention. The trial is set for March 2026, and with whispers of other high-profile figures potentially getting involved, this drama is far from over.
At that point, did you know who she was?
No. So I was an intern on a show that she was doing press for, and they were going to talk about Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. It was 3 of the 4 stars. I believe it was Alexis Bledel who wasn't there. And my job was to hand out water bottles to whoever needed it on set that day. And so I didn't talk to her. I had no interaction with her. I walked by her in the green room and I went to set as I do. And then she was like, oh, that girl did I hang up?
No,
Okay.
you're there. Yeah.
That girl treated me like a fan. That girl made me uncomfortable.
Let that sink in. Baldoni's legal team claims Taylor's presence was used to intimidate him, to make him bend to Blake's demands. But here's the kicker. Taylor hasn't uttered a word in Blake's defense. Not a single tweet. For a superstar who's built her brand on loyalty, that silence is deafening. Is Taylor quietly doubting her best friend's story? Or is she caught in a web of Hollywood secrets too dangerous to touch?
But I don't have any bad memories of you, so that's good.
Great.
So that's
bad memories of you.
And
we'll leave it at that.
And we'll leave it at that. No, I always had fun filming our scenes together, especially in the beginning. We worked a lot. Like we worked a lot together.
Yeah, actually, but you know, I mean, I'm almost like, by the end, we really didn't work together.
No,
at all.
No,
you were always doing crazy
storyline. I was off being a drug dealer and whatever.
Fans are losing their minds. TikTok theories are exploding. One viral post screams, if Blake were telling the truth, Taylor would have defended her by now. Another user dug up old interviews where Blake admits to manipulating co-stars. Which brings us to... That's right. Blake once bragged about turning the Gossip Girl cast against Penn Badgley, her on-screen soulmate Dan Humphrey, because she didn't like his casting. She laughed about it like it was a prank. But co-star Taylor Momsen just dropped a bombshell in a recent interview saying, Penn, he was cool. I don't know what Blake's talking about.
Footage is coming out of Blake Lively admitting, hey, when I get involved with projects, they hire me as the actress, and sometimes I don't really tell them, but I actually want to come in and I want to rewrite it, and I want to be a producer, and I want to do all of these things. She's literally admitted all of this blatantly. This is just the first time that it's ended up.
How old is Blake Lively, by the way?
30s, I believe.
34. How much longer do you think Ryan Reynolds sticks around with her?
Did any of you guys see Deadpool Wolverine at all? Yeah, so do you remember the scene where he's nice Paul and he's saying like, oh, she bounced back right after a pregnancy. It's okay, I can say that I'm a feminist. They're literally...
Ouch. So was Blake the real villain of the Upper East Side? And does this pattern of poisoning people's reputations explain why her former stylists, interns, and crew members are now crawling out of the shadows with horror stories? Picture this. A 20-year-old intern named Jamie, trembling as she hands Blake a water bottle. Blake glares, then tells producers the girl acted like a fan, a claim that nearly got Jamie blacklisted. Or Barbara, an assistant director on A Simple Favor, who quit after Blake's constant cruelty left her crying in her car every night.
Blake is super important because it represents our collective awakening, specifically to celebrities that we should not be idolizing, and they hate that.
So do you feel free now to try everything? I mean, what is the next 5 years? Well, in terms of trying, I mean, Did you see the movie? I did see the movie. But I mean...
We're going to give you a pop quiz.
We're going to give you a pop quiz every minute of it.
Yeah.
Then there's the mystery man who walked into Blake's trailer while she was breastfeeding. Blake called it harassment, but insiders say she invited him in. Conflicting stories, shady accusations. Is this a pattern of calculated victimhood? Or is Blake truly surrounded by enemies? Let's talk about the real puppet master, Ryan Reynolds. The guy's a PR genius. He turned Deadpool's marketing into a masterclass. But now, Baldoni's lawyers claim Ryan's using those same tricks to bury Blake's critics. Fake Twitter accounts? Check. Paid media hit pieces?
Proof positive, or you know what, potentially proof positive, that there is a history of her doing this type of behavior, going out of her way to talk ish, put out rumors, say bad things, say negative things about other co-stars, either because she just is in her feelings about that person, not happy about that person being in the show, or because she feels, I don't know, maybe because she just wants to start drama for the sake of starting drama. I don't know what it is, but clearly we're seeing the embryo stage, the embryo stage, the beginnings, right, of this whole thing to what it has flowered.
Check. Even that viral breastfeeding story? They say it was all a distraction. And guess what? It worked. Until now. Because the internet is starting to connect the dots. A TikTok investigator named Steph with the Deets exposed how Blake's team allegedly used the same victim narrative to silence critics years ago. And now, crisis manager Jed Wallace is suing Blake for defamation, claiming she falsely accused him of running a bot farm to troll her. His evidence? Texts, emails, and a paper trail that could bring down Hollywood's golden couple?
For a second, you invite a man to your trailer, you're breastfeeding. You say, you can come in, but you gotta turn around. So he, knock, knock, I'm here. Come on in. Turn around. He locks eyes with you. And the second it takes for him to turn around. And you add that to the lawsuit. Blake Lively. Gossip girl. You must be stopped. That man was standing and staring at the wall. Singing show tunes to himself for all we know, counting stars, counting specks of dust and paint. And you said that was sexual harassment. At this point, you gotta blame it on Ryan Reynolds. Say he wanted the idea for a movie. Say that he thought that it was gonna be a funny ha 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 moment. You know how he jokes. Say we all know how he jokes because it's not working.
But here's where it gets really dark. Brands are ditching Blake. Studios are shelving her projects. Even her inner circle, those loyal friends who partied at her lavish birthdays, are ghosting her. Why? Because in Hollywood, loyalty vanishes faster than a Snapchat story when the money's at risk. And right now, Blake Lively is radioactive.
I've been trying to think of other things to talk about, but another day, another file. And this actually has to do with one of the most interesting aspects of this entire case. Blake Lively is now being sued by Jed Wallace of Street Relations Inc. He has said that she has cost him millions of dollars in reputational harm and is suing her for defamation. Lively's counsel released a statement saying that this is just someone else that's trying to sue her into oblivion for speaking out, and that they are confident that this will get dismissed, which I find that to be really interesting because this is someone that they alleged in her original complaint was really responsible or had a part in allegedly the whole astroturfing, because they alleged that Wallace was responsible for planting negative comments and negative story, which Wallace has maintained that he had no part in any negative PR tactics against Lively. Which it was interesting that her defense basically was like, oh, this is nothing, it'll get dismissed, yada, 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 because in her filings, they said that Wallace was the one who weaponized a digital army. I don't know if that's a direct quote, but basically that it was either real accounts or possibly bot farms. I don't really know. I probably need to read that again. But basically that was orchestrated by Wallace and, other members of Baldoni's team. Which, if I was naming someone who, had taken part in this, alleged astroturfing, I'd be like, yeah, see you in court. Can't wait to find out your method. I don't know. Maybe that's probably not the most professional response, which is also probably why I'm not a lawyer and I'm here on TikTok.
Ryan Reynolds might need more than chimichangas to fix this mess, because the lawsuits aren't slowing down. They're multiplying. Baldoni's trial is set for 2026, and he's vowed to subpoena everyone. Taylor Swift, Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, even Blake's former nanny. Imagine Taylor on the stand, forced to answer under oath. Did you help Blake destroy a man's career? This trial could expose Hollywood's dirtiest secrets, and Blake's reputation might not survive it. So, where does this leave us?
Now involving Taylor Swift and his lawsuit against Blake Lively. So Justin Baldoni is suing Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicists for over $400 million for all the It Ends With Us drama. Now he's name dropping Taylor Swift, Blake's bestie, in the mix. Thankfully, Taylor Swift is not being sued, but she's mentioned in his 179-page paper complaint. And he's alleging that Taylor's fame was used to pressure him during production. And it really all stems from this penthouse situation where Blake and Ryan live. Apparently, there was a meeting there with all of them, and Taylor Swift was actually present, and Blake ended up rewriting one of the scenes. And even after the meeting was over, Baldoni texted Blake this, saying, I gotta put my glasses on for this one, the font is too small. Also was working on the rooftop scene today. Really love what you did. Makes it so much more fun and interesting, and I would have felt the same way without Ryan.
Is Blake Lively a master manipulator or a victim of a conspiracy? The truth is buried under layers of lawsuits, NDAs, and paid-off publicists. But the court of public opinion is already voting. Comment sections are flooded with "she's done" and "karma's a bitch." Even her Instagram posts, once filled with heart emojis, are now swarmed with snake emojis. Snake.
All things Blake Lively and her legal complaint that she's filed against her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni. Yes, the It Ends With Us movie drama does in fact not end. What's interesting about this story to me is the Justin Baldoni of it all. He is a self-proclaimed male feminist, he's woke, he speaks out against sexual assault and sexual harassment, even toxic masculinity, and now in this legal complaint filed by Blake Lively, he's being accused of sexual harassment.
I challenge you to see if you can use the same qualities that you feel make you a man to go deeper into yourself. And will you be man enough to stand up to other men when you hear locker room talk, when you hear stories of sexual harassment, when you hear your boys talking about grabbing ass or getting her drunk? Will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward to say the words "me too"?
This is gonna be really awkward if these allegations are true. I will say, just for the record, I'm not a fan of either of these individuals, and something about both of them rubs me the wrong way, so I'm not sure what exactly the real truth.
If you're still watching, you're hooked. And here's my final take. Blake Lively isn't just fighting lawsuits, she's fighting for her legacy. Because in Hollywood, your image is your currency. And right now, Blake's bank account is running on fumes. Will she pull off a comeback? Or will she become the next cautionary tale? Only time will tell. But one thing's certain. We'll be here, cameras rolling, ready to dissect every twist. Don't you dare look away. Smash that subscribe button and hit the bell. Because when Baldoni's trial explodes in 2026, you'll want front row seats to the meltdown. And hey, drop a comment. Is Blake innocent? Or is this the end of an era? Let's start a war in the comments, and as always, stay messy.